That was a situation for a long, long time. You know, trauma go a long way even if the cause of the trauma has gone away. Aware that there was no psychosocial support that was given to people who lived in the camps. And remember, during the time when they were in camps, we had 3 occasions where massive massacre took place. One was in a place called Amononeno, where 69 people were massacred in one evening by people who were said to be the LRA. Another killing took place in Abia. 159 people were killed in a concentration camp that was protected by the military and the soldiers. A sad note, not a single UPDF was killed during that killing. In 2003, January, over 350 people were killed in Abia. It was in Barlonyo in Agweng, a concentration camp also. One thing that disheartens us, there was a rush to count the number of people who were killed. Remember, many people were hurriedly buried. The first report came out. The report said only 89 people were killed. When the members of parliament, led by Honorable Gutamoy Angiro, who was the area member of parliament, the total counting was taken, and over 350 people were identified. The number went beyond that because many more people were found rotting in the bush. Those were not taken into account. So when you consider this, when you look at this, these were massive killings that took place. And all these camps were protected by our military. Many people remain wondering what could have taken place. And it is also a national obligation that the state has a responsibility to take care of people with their properties. So when you ask yourself, where was the state? That is a question that remains unanswered up to today. We pay tax to support the payment to buy the machineries, the weaponaries, to take care of the people and their properties. Remember, they had lost over 3 million of their cattle. Now they are losing also about 1,000 of the livelihood again. So the big question remains. When you get anybody from Lao, not only Jaramogi, they will always tell you about all this ordeal, and they will tell you how painful they feel. Now, somebody would ask, what does it bear? All this. It has a long bearing. And how did all this start? More especially in the political terrain now. After all those have taken place, time came when they needed to begin to disorganize the political base of the sub-region. UPC was a strong man and a giant in the region. This has since gone because of a deliberate, supported and funded political infight between the same political party. And this started when our brother, Ambassador Olaro Tuno, came back, where UPC has got its own 2 routes. The one believing in Akena Jimmy, the one believing in Otuno. And up to now, it has disorganized UPC without any more stand now. Another route they have also disorganized the region is through creating deliberate infighting between the same society. Lango is the only ethnic group with the true traditional leadership at the apex. One headed by Mose Yosha Modur, one headed by Engineer Odon Okune. What does that mean? Normally they say, when you divide, you are weak. When you are divided, you are weak. When you unite, you are strong. So is Lango any strong again? This kind of ill fighting has penetrated many religious sects. We have the PAG church that used to be a very strong one, but now it has also two leadership. The one is called PAG Lira, the other one is called PAG Kampala. What does that mean? The same faith. Now, politically, this is very serious. The spokesperson had asked, why has the people of Lango started voting the big man, the thumb up? Considering the analogy, what people went through, those psychological trauma, whatever, our people have chosen only to protect one thing, is now to protect life. Even if you cannot send your child to school, even if you cannot now eat food, even if you cannot afford any more thing, everybody now prays, let me remain on the alive. Now, a person who thinks that way, if a political environment emerges and there is a competition between the two people, one who is affiliated to somebody they suspect at a hand in making them live in concentration camp all these years, and the other one who is harmless, only has his brain, his small money to get to people and ask for their votes, who would they choose? It is not a surprise in many of the elections. During our campaigns, you would see choppers flying, you would see military jets flying. That would silently be communicating that you are being reminded that if it is not me, then you are not safe at home. So this is a situation that has bedeviled Lango to a level that Lango has completely lost direction. And this has a serious bearing. Poverty is eating hardest. It has been compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic. The record says over 21,000 young girls at the primary school got impregnated within the period of only 2 years. What does that mean socioeconomically and politically to the people of the region? If a girl who is less than 18 conceives, what impact do we see ahead of time? We have not yet done a study to see the maternal mortality. We have not seen the child mortality. We have not studied it yet. And that one is looking at the girls. How about the boys? The school dropout is at a maximum over 50%. Our children who enter P1, only 39% are completing P7. So out of every 100 children who go to school in P1, only 39 is reaching P7. What does that mean to the community of Lango? That has a multiplier effect to the community of this country. Because whatever happens to a neighbor has a bearing onto you. So that means there is school dropout. That means there is teenage pregnancy. That means there is early marriage. Where there is early marriage, that means there is also marital breakage. And that tells you the society is no longer there. The biggest giant in the house is now a poor man cannot take care of the most important factor of production, which is land. A poor man cannot take care of his land. Somebody with the useless money is going to lure him into, and definitely the land is going. And every other person who has some money in this country is now running to Lango. Because we have communal land tenure system with our self-deception that the land belongs to the what? Land belongs to the people. So it is now very easy to remove the land from the people because they are very poor, and indeed they are too poor. I think this has a terrible bearing. We cannot stand competitively, politically, to compete. We can't. Even some of our people, you see them in cabinet position, maybe from other regions, but for us, they are barely bearing the positions. They are barely bearing the positions. Because we do not have any better school in the sub-region, those of our people who have some money, they are in business, they are running with their children to Kampala for schools. Yet we had one very powerful traditional school that was at the level of Budo, that was at the level of Mwiri, that was at the level of St. Peter's. Those were the schools you would talk about. Lango College is now a sleeping giant. So that tells you the poverty, and that means in our region, education has become luxury. It is not a fundamental right. In Europe, education is a fundamental human right. But for us, it is luxury. You can go for it if you can afford. Human capital development is one dream of the sustainable development goal. So if education is now luxury, that means ignorance is again coming to drive us. The post-independence government had 3 dreams: poverty, disease, and ignorance. But now if we cannot afford education, then we remain with ignorance. So, colleagues and members, spokesperson, I think for now, I still want to address this matter up to this particular point. I thank you so much.
You're welcome. But I think you are happy with the president. He has just given out 4,000 titles, and then you talk about land grabbing. Aren't you happy, you guys? And possibly if you could tell us the poverty levels as you're crying, in terms of statistics, if you could afford.
The wise man's word says, if you want to destroy and finish an ethnic group, you do away with their culture. Our culture and tradition does not talk about having land title as a means of taking care of our land. For over 800 years, Lango have been where it is. We have been taking care of our land through communal and customary tenure administration. The title that was given by the president is the cheapest way of taking away the remaining pinnacle that now Lango has. Because it is going to be very easy. A title land is very easy to be taken away. Customary land, you cannot easily take it because many people have a stake in it. And our traditional leadership says, this is your land for you and the generation to follow. But a title land does not talk about that. Title land talks about the owner of the title, period. So for us as a region, it was not widely publicized. The people of Lango were not widely consulted. If you ask any clan leadership from Lango, in any case, we did not have one unifying leadership. But because we wanted to think like other people are thinking, our leadership used to stop at the level of a clan. And as I talk today, we have over 255 different clans. Over 155 different clans, and those were the leadership of clans in Lango. They would handle their thing. This one, Nyasi here, those are ceremonial thing. It has no impact. It does not administer any single Lango. It is just an arrangement by the clan leaders, clan aides of 153, 155. That is their leader, but they do not lead me in particular. Though through my clan aid, I affiliate to them, but they have no say over what I do. So we needed to, having been consulted widely, whether we enjoy this customary free all land tenure system or not. For a long time, there has been a push to see Article 26 of the Land Act amended to remove the land from the person, from the people to the government. But we do not believe, like other countries in East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, land belongs to the government. But the government keeps this land in trust of the people. But we have seen things in this country here, where NSSF fund was taken for buying a swamp at 11 billion shillings. Are these the people who can keep the land in trust of the Ugandans? No. We are very pessimistic. We are very suspicious. They cannot do that. We can keep our land in the current situation under customary land tenure system. Whoever wants to have a lease can apply for it, but not changing the entire land in Lango into a freehold with the title. No. Luckily enough, unfortunately, I am part of the leadership within the cultural leadership. So we have a very big stake, and we are not going to be lured. We are not going to lose our precious property, even if we are as weak as what, even if we are as traumatized as what. Some of us can still contain the trauma, and we are going to contain it for a longer time to come. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can we have questions first, or we? Okay. Let me call upon Dr. Alvin Mtevi, Director of Research and Policy, to have something to say about the situation.
Yes, thank you so much, my brother. Yes, thank you so much, my brother, for the detailed perspective on what is happening in Lango sub-region. You know, for us as NEED, our understanding is on the element of economic empowerment. So if you hear such a cross-section of what is happening in some sub-regions in this country, you get to understand what exactly this government is doing to put people in absolute poverty. As my friend was speaking, you talked of issues to do with the land tenure system, changing from customary to land title system. But this is not in the understanding of the people of Lango. And this has affected their understanding when it comes to the issues of using the land and how to economically grow. You know, Mr. Museveni and his government, they have this element of promoting capitalism, which is so much detached from the understanding of people. One, if you bring the aspect or the notion of customary, capitalism into people who do not even understand it, you realize that a certain group of people are going to develop at the expense of the other. Recently, we were in Lango sub-region, and we were assessing development in that region, and we realized that the city itself belongs to a certain group of people who have set up buildings, who have set up arcades, who have set up, shopping malls for themselves. And then you ask yourself, what is the understanding of the common person in this region? If you go to areas as far as Lango, as far as Dira sub-county, which is within the city, you will find that even up to now, in a city structure or in a city setting, in the quotes, I put it in quotes, the city, you will find that there are some people who are still sleeping in grass-thatched houses in a city. And then somebody comes, tells you, I'm granting you a city, and you jubilate, you give him votes, he goes in Kampala State House, he rests, forgets about you. Then after some time, he realizes that these people have ever tested leadership. Maybe at one moment of time they might come and question a number of administration within my government. He comes, he says, I'm giving you land titles. But if you analyze the people who appeared to receive those land titles, how were they dressed? You know, Ugandans, we should stop doing these things of just looking at things and we leave them the way they are. We have to, at least for once, we have to do what we call patriotic journalism. This one I'm putting it to you journalists. We should do patriotic journalism, at least for once. And we bring out these issues clearly. I know there is a lot of censorship whenever we talk about these issues that affect our common people. But it is evident this man is here. He has spoken on behalf of the people. And if you random sample them, they will tell you as what he has said. If you look at the cooperative unions, as he was saying, in Lango sub-region, the cooperative unions. I remember we had a big cooperative union in Irira, which was responsible for making SISO. And Rira, Lango sub-region, was one of the regions in East Africa known for producing that. It was known for producing SISO, it was known for producing simsim, which cotton, which we used to, even it was the leading supplier of cotton to Night Hill. But apparently we do not even have Night Hill because the cooperative union in Lango sub-region, I don't know what happened to it. And right now people have come up to question the administration. And then somebody comes, gives us unclear justifications. And that's the reason as to why we come here to talk about these issues. My brother was also stating that there is what we call, this government has actually created what we call a nostalgia of what happened. And actually, creating nostalgia in people is actually catastrophic. Because every time people stand up to question the administration, deliver of service, then they bring out elements of nostalgia. You remember what happened last time? You had Lakwena and Koni. Helicopters will roam around, and then you bring fear in people, and people will vote otherwise. And once you know that you have big-headed people, like maybe the Obote family, and then the Otunu family, you will know that these ones are big-headed, they are not threatened by the nostalgia I'm creating, then you call them to your side. But you are the same people who called upon the multi-party dispensation in Uganda. And then you're bringing fear in people. You're not even making people to make informed choices when selecting their representatives. And that's the reason as to why we have elements of bottlenecks in service delivery. In Lango sub-region, we have bottlenecks in service delivery. Look at the schools. We had giant schools. We had in Lango they call it the organ of Lango. Organ means lion or leopard, I think. It means leopard. We had the lion of Lango, whereby that school was equivalent to Muiri College. It was equivalent to Bodo. But up to now, the school that produced our first Prime Minister, Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, if you go there now to track it, you won't find anything there. You will only find buildings which were constructed during the colonial period. If you go there now, you will find that even up to now, the health systems in Lango, the structures we have there, are the ones which were constructed by our colonial masters. But seriously, if you look at the rate of return and the rate of investment being put in Lango sub-region and the return on investment in Lango sub-region towards the national budget or the national cake, they don't tally. And these Ugandans, that is the question this gentleman is asking us. And they Ugandans, don't they have a share in this country? And in the making of Uganda, where these people consulted that, you know what, you come and you'll be part of Uganda, but they just found themselves Ugandans. So, does it mean that them not being consulted to be Ugandans amounts to them being discriminated against? Those are some of the questions you have to answer. Land, nowhere to be seen. Education systems are very poor. Health systems are very poor. If you look at even the social setting now, it is being divided. This man is telling us that even in the cultural systems, the cultural institutions, which could unite these people, bring them together, bring development to the people, they are divided. And that is what this government is doing, divide and rule. It was a system by the colonialists, it's the same system which they are employing here. Divide them, you will rule them. Make them poor, you will rule them, because they will come begging to you to offer services to them. But do we really need to beg government to deliver services in our regions? No. It is an obligation of government. That's the reason as to why we are saying that we as NEED have tangible solutions to this country. But I don't know. I don't know why Ugandans are not seeing this. At least for once, journalists, help us and do patriotic journalism. Make this information reach the people so that they can understand. We are dying in absolute poverty, and this poverty is not only affecting people who come from the regions that we bring to you. This poverty is affecting us all. Even you, the journalists who have brought your cameras here, you are facing the same kind of poverty. But when we come for press conferences like these ones, we talk about classical issues, tangible issues, you don't show them there. At least if your media houses are censored, at least you put them on your social media platforms so that at least people can get that information, so that we can know, okay, they have stopped us here, but at least we can have something there. So, basically, that is what he was talking about. He also talked about the war, which happened, the massacres. People were massacred, and up to now, as I speak, me, I'm head of research here, as I speak, reports have not come through. As I speak, we do not have statistics, clear statistics, to show how many people were killed, to show, to give accountability on what happened. And that is where government is blindfolding us. Because for us, we understand that to keep people backward, to keep them away from information and statistics, because they won't know what exactly happened. And this gentleman has told us that if you look at areas like Abia, Boronya, reports said that over 350 people were massacred in the attacks that befell these areas. But up to now, government has not given us a report to what exactly happened. Not only in these massacres. Look at what is happening. We do not have reports to do with the education system. We don't have reports to do with the health system. We do not have reports to do with the land grabbing. We do not have reports to do with the cattle restoring. We do not have reports, clear reports. And lack of information has got these areas to go backward. People are now just there surviving. In Uganda, we have a saying which says, Indira Butafa. So, Lango region resorted to that. As long as we are alive, let us continue. Because if we stand against these people, we ask for accountability and service delivery, they will come against us. And that's the reason as to why people are voting otherwise. That's the reason as to why people are being threatened. And these people are actually very smart. They will know, okay, now for elements of regional balance, we will have maybe ministers. Then they call upon maybe one person from the area. They'll be like, Minister so-and-so, you are from Rango. You come and sit in this position. But the powers to administer, the powers to give directives, the powers to do a number of things lies in the custody of one person. We witnessed that. This is not here. So you witnessed that during the COVID-19 pandemic. Directives and everything to do with issues of health. Somebody was giving those directives, but according to the Ministry of Health Act and guidelines, such guidelines have to come from the ministry. And the minister in charge is the one responsible to offer those things. But due to the fact that these people are there as puppets and to blindfold us that there is regional representative. That's the reason as to why such things are happening. And that's the reason as to why this gentleman is here, trying to put such issues in the face of media so that Ugandans can understand them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. When you talked about intimidation during elections, it reminded me of the 1996 elections where Museveni was telling people, especially in Uganda, that you vote, Dr. Semogerere is going to bring back Obote. At the same time, he said, if you don't vote for me, I'm going back to the bush. So I remember such things, and I think that's what is tormenting these guys, and they end up voting for the Kanywa Musai. I think we can have questions. Yes, then. Uganda version will come later.
Thank you so much. My name is Kasule Mark Jackson. I work with PBS. Gentleman, Patrick, why are you here now? Why have you come to NEED? What do you want maybe the government to do or need to do? Because we've had all the challenges, all the issues that are happening there. What exactly do you want?
Mr. Kasule, thank you so much for this question. What do you want? Why are you here? What do you want NEED to do? Number one, I want to share the traumatic experience that has bedeviled our region with the rest of this country and the globe. It is sad most information that comes from northern Uganda is only attributed to Gulu. Very few of you people know Lira, know Lao, but you have overheard about Gulu. You know when you are talking about northern Uganda, you know you are talking about Gulu, no? I'm talking about Lango, and this is Lira, with the 9 districts and 1 city. So I want to share with them the things and matters that we have been through, so that we bring it to the attention of the international community, the attention of the national community, to the attention of the media people. We can only reach out to the regime and to people who wish us well if we use the media properly and if you stand on our side. If you get this information and you sit over it, it will still not go there. You know, you are also under very strict censorship. And even the information you take from here, maybe about 20 or less will come out. I want to say it here, I don't stay here. But what happens here happens in other parts of the country as well. We have seen it even in our own region. So we want to share this experience and to make people understand that this is a situation where we are. Socio-economically, you are not aware. The Equal Opportunity Commission of Parliament did their survey, I think 3 years ago, about the tarmac road in the country. The Lango that raised the presidency in this country had only 3% of the national tarmac in the country. 3%. And they are talking about tarmac. If you went there and see what they are calling the tarmac also. And which tarmac is this? Is the road that leaves Busia Tororo, crossing Soroti, going across, which is the Great North. That is the only tarmac the sub-region has, apart from a few one of the use meet Uganda support to municipal infrastructure, which is a World Bank funded project. And remember, we had only 1 municipality. So that tells you how we have been on the receiving end. Those who are stubborn say we deserve it. But this is one country. Indeed, we are praying, that is, we are still working with the needs. Needs is giving us some open opportunity. to have a feeling of coexistence in this country. But where this is not coming to pass, we have now started talking about it publicly. We are beginning to have a quest for the Nile Republic, because it is worthless staying in a country where you are not needed. We can begin to think about it. The South Sudanese thought about it. It has come to pass. So we are working with the needs, and no needs will deliver us. But if they don't, we are going to the Nile Republic, and we will meet as neighboring countries. I thank you so much. This is all we want.
Thank you.
Maybe to add on a little on what brings him here. We as political people, our obligation is to offer alternatives to this government. Majority of our members in the opposition call themselves opposition, and they come with what we call radicalized opposition. For us, we are not radicalized opposition members. For us, we are alternative-based. And the reason as to why this gentleman is here is to expose what is happening to need, so that we can come up with tangible alternatives on what to do. And the tangible alternatives, we have listed them. We are going to do mobilization of people so that they talk about these issues as they come. So that's the reason as to why he's here. We as NEED, we do not have a huge budget to say that we are going to fund the construction of tarmac in Lira or in Lango sub-region. We don't have that money. But we can do advocacy, we can educate people, and then we can do the mobilization of people to talk about the issues affecting people in these communities. That's the reason as why this gentleman is here. So don't expect that we are going to stage a mobilization or maybe a strike or maybe a campaign like what other members in the opposition are doing. That is not our understanding. Our understanding is a bit mature, and we are using mature approaches to engage, to see how we can overcome these challenges. Thank you.
Do we have other questions, please? Ndoze ebisinga bibabira bya Luganda. Bya Luganda.
Ngenda kubifunza olw'obudde. Manyi waliwo ekintu kimu kye ntera okugamba bannayuganda bannange nti Mr. Museveni, the antagonist and the protagonist, is a person who uses the both hands to eat at the same time. So if it is a film, yeshivanda atera a film star. So we expect that, and it is this high time that we are trying to come up with the solutions. Basebane banyabo, munnaffe gwe tukyaziza olwaleero Mr. Jaramogi Patrick okuva mu bitundu ebyobukiikakkono bw'eggwanga Uganda gyetera okuyita Mambuka, ali wano okutunnyonnyola ensonga ezisinga okuba nga zikosezza bannayuganda okumalira ekiseera ekiwanvu ennyo, era atuwadde olugero nti okubonaabona kwabwe kwe tulengera olwaleero n'ebifo bagenda bafuna mu gavumenti ya kuno essaawa zino nti si bya leero. Atuwadde olugero okuva mu 1986 bannaffe balirwana baabwe Abakalamoja bwe baabalumba ne babanyagako ente kumpi obukadde 3 obw'ente. Ebiseera ebyo mujjukira bulungi nti gavumenti yali yakayingirawo, akati ne bali ne beeyambisa omukisa ogwo okuleka nti beeyambisa okunyagako bannaabwe ente mu ngeri enjawulo. Alulazi obutali bumativu nti newankubadde byonna byaliwo mu kaseera ke kamwako, naye bannayuganda naddala bava mu bitundu bya Lango baali basuubira nti newankubadde bamaze okubanyagako ente zaabwe eziwera ddala obukadde 3, oba oli awo baali basobola okuddukirako mu bitongole bibiina byabwe ebyobwegassi bye tuyita cooperative unions, era bagenda okwetegerezanga mu myaka 2 nga emu ku cooperative union ey'amaanyi oba ekitongole ekyobwegassi ekimanyiddwa nga lira steel mills nakyo nga kiweddewo n'okutuuka essaawa ya kakati. Atunnyonnyodde nti ebizibu byabwe ebiri mu Lango okubijja mu 1986 balowooza nti mu 1991 bajja kuba bamaze okutereera nga bamaze okufuna gavumenti mu luvannyuma myaka 3 baabali awo nga omukyala Alice Lakwena gwe mwamanya obulungi ennyo eyali akozesa obusaale n'ebirala n'amalogo nga naye ayingiddewo ati kiseera kyekimu ne bafuna ne Joseph Kony. Abo nno babamalako emyaka 20. Siiga ekifaananyi kyabadde atusiigiramu wano nti fe twamala emyaka 5 wano Luweero. Luweero Corridor sijja gamba Luweero wabula Luweero Corridor nga bweri oba Luweero Triangle kubanga bw'ogamba Luweero oli alowooza Luweero yokka. Bano baamala emyaka 2 ne babakwata kiseera ekituuka nga balina kubeera mu nkambi z'abanoonyi b'obubudamu mu kitundu kyabwe, era ebbanga eryo baamala nga bali mu kitundu ekyo baafiirwa ebintu bingi nnyo. Tebasobola kugenda mu masomero, tebasobola kutwala baana baabwe kuyigirizibwa kwa njawulo newankubadde okufuna obujjanjabi obwetongodde mu ngeri ey'enjawulo. Mu mbeera yemu eyo bannaffe abo abakyoli n'abalaŋŋo mu kiseera ekyo nga bali mu nkambi z'obubudamu bagenda okuvaayo nga okudda ewaabwe mu bitundu byabwe nga buli muntu akyasobola kwawula nti wano we banzijja, kubanga bw'omala mu nkambi z'obunoonyi bw'obubudamu oluusi ne mufiirayo ne musigaza baana, oluusi namwandu yasigaddewo oba oluusi mukyala yafudde omwami yaliwo naye nga bagenda okutandika okudda mu bitundu byabwe nga lumuntu akyasobola kutegeera nti kino kyekibanja kyange we nali mpita oba nali nnimira wano n'ebintu ebifaanako ng'ebyo, ng'ekintu ekisinga okuba eky'obugagga ng'ettaka mu bitundu byabwe kyali kimaze okubaggyibwako mu mbeera efaanako bw'etyo. Kati bo ne balowooza nti bajja kubeera mu mbeera y'okwekubagiriza mu kulonda. Tukimanyi bulungi nti mu 1996 akalulu k'owekitiibwa Ssemwogerere ne mwami Yoweri Museveni, akalulu ako mu mambuka ga Uganda oba bukiikakkono nga bukiikaddyo nga bitubuyise, balondawo opposition ebiseera ebyo ewa mwami Ssemwogerere, era ne mu 2001 mwami Museveni teyasobola kufuna bulungi kalulu waggulu eyo, 2006 teyasobola kufuna kalulu waggulu eyo. Kati kirowoozebwa nti bwe yamala okutegeera nti bannayuganda abali eyo tebajja kumutegeera bulungi, kwe kuteekawo embeera ey'okuleka nti lwanaabeerangawo okulonda ng'agenda okuba adressinga ng'agenda mu byambalo by'amagye oba n'ekitali ekyo nga ennyonyi zino namunkanga n'ennyonyi ziri ennene ezisuula ebyokulwanyisa eby'amaanyi ebiseera bya campaigns n'okulonda nga zisandika okuyita waggulu eyo ne message ezaalinga ziyita mu ba agents ba state abamwami Yoweri Museveni nga bategeeza abantu bano nti ku bibiri okuddayo mu nkambi z'abanoonyi b'obubudamu gye mubadde emyaka 2015 oba okulonda gavumenti eno eriko okulonda mwami Yoweri Museveni. Kale nno mu buyinike obw'ekitalo ennyo mwami Jaramogi atutegeezezza nti bannaffe abo oluvannyuma lw'okufuna okutya okw'amaanyi nga baafiirwa bannaabwe kumpi 350 olunaku lumu, kitundu ekimanyiddwa nga balonyo baafa newankubadde nga gavumenti yatugamba 89, ekitta abantu abo kyabatiisa nnyo. Ate ne bafiirayo n'abantu abalala mu kitundu ekimanyiddwa nga abiya abantu 169. Abo nno baafanga mulundi lunaku lumu naga nti wali bafudde abantu 169 ku kyalo kimu oba mu ggombolola emu. Kati lubagezaako okubajjukiza embeera eyo nga n'ennyonyi ziyita mu bbanga nga babategeeza nti ku bibiri mulondeeko kimu. So bannaffe abo emyaka egyo gyonna okuva mu 2011, 2016, 2021 baasalawo balandike okulonda mwami Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, kubanga bo bagamba nti yadde totutte mwana ku ssomero, yadde ekyokulya tokirina bulungi, yadde tolina woosula, yadde amalwaliro temulimu ddagala nago tegaliiyo, fe abamu abatambuddeko mu bitundu eyo, waakiri sigaza obulamu. Kakati obulamu bwe balina obulamu bwa mulundi gumu gwokka, buli muntu alina tiketi emu yakaluluke oluvannyuma lw'emyaka 5. Ekirwaki abantu abo basobodde okusavayivinga mu mbeera eyo. Wabula tugambye nti ebimu ku ebyo bannayuganda tubetulowooza nti obaolyawo abambi be babawadde bandibadde basobola okubayamba kuba tulengedde kati essaawa zino kabinenti ya mwami Yoweri Kaguta Museveni esinze bannaffe abava mu bitundu ebyo. Twandibadde tulowooza nti obaolyawo bagenda kubayamba, naye abo bennyini babaleetamu enjawukana wakati waabwe. Era mujjukira ambasada Olulo Otuno bwe yakoma wano e Uganda mu UPC ne babeera mu kugugulana okw'amaanyi ennyo ne munnaffe Jimmy Akena okw'amaanyi ennyo okuva olwo ekibiina kyabwe ne kikutukamu. Ate nga tukimanyi bulungi nti ebitundu bya Lango byali biyimiridde nnyo ku kigambo ky'ekibiina ekyo kya UPACA. Na mu mbeera eyo UPACA bemala okusaanawo okutuuka essaawa ya kakati, bano tebalina fallback position, tebalina bayinza kwesigama naddala nga bali mu kaseera akazibu ennyo kubanga ebiseera biri bagambanga nti mutukolere kino basi ekyo tujja kuddayo mu bupacca tulonde abakulembeze baffe. Essaawa zino ekyo nakyo bakibajjako, tebalina alternative ndala yonna oba tebalina buddukiro bayinza kuba nti basobola okufuna mu ngeri efaanako bwekyo kubanga tukimanyi bulungi nti olala otunu akena ne mama Cecilia Ogwal baali mugongo gw'amaanyi nnyo eri bannaffe bano abalaŋŋo, naye ekiseera kino tebalina mbeera yonna kyokka ate mu ngeri y'emu n'abakulembeze baabwe ab'ennono gavumenti eno nga bweza ekikola mu bitundu ebirala wano mu Buganda. Mujjukira bulungi Saabamooli, Saabanyala n'ebifaanako ng'ebyo. Ne tugenda e Busoga ne tufuna cultural leaders babiri, munnaffe oli aliko kati n'omulala yali awo nga naye gavumenti emutaddewo. Ne tugenda bannaffe abasiraamu nabo nga balina basipulu mufuti babiri, bamufuti kale mu ngeri ey'enjawulo. Kati bwe yalaba nti kikoze mu bitundu bino ebirala n'akitwala mu Balaŋŋo, nabo balina cultural leaders babiri ate nga bonna balina ababakuuma, balina emmotoka eza gavumenti, balina n'abagoberera. Kale nno nti ate nga bonna beenaalemu. N'olw'ensonga eyo bannaffe abo bali mu kunyigirizibwa okw'enjawulo ennyo nga abakulembeze baabwe ekibinja ekimu ekya mwami Yosam Mudu ne Engineer Bone, abo bonna baliyo bannaffe babakoza kajjiri mu ngeri enjawulo nga tebalina ebanza kuddukira. Naye bukimanyi bulungi nti ne mu ddiini zino nabo bukimanyi bulungi nti Laŋŋo ng'oggyeko akyoli nti yo yali abakatuliki nnyo. Laŋŋo yo nga sub-region eyo, region eyo yali abannaffe ba Anglican. Naye essaawa zino balina abakulembeze ab'eddiini nabo bameka babiri ebiseera ebyo baali batandise bakutulamu nga waliwo ekibinja ekimu ekirina gwe kigoberera n'ekirala kirina gwe kigoberera mu ngeri emu oba endala. Kale nno ebyo byonna byonna bye bireese munnaffe ono okuleka nti bafuna okuyambibwa mu ngeri y'enjawulo n'okulaba tutya bituyinza okuba advocatingira nga National Economic Empowerment Dialogue. Ebiseera by'okulonda tanka ezo ennyonyi namunkanga n'ennyonyi endala zino eziyita mu bbanga n'abaana okuba nti tebasoma bayambiddwa batya. Ekisinga okwennyamiza emyaka 2 nga tebasoma mu ngeri y'emu batubulidde nti bwe bayita UPE abaana bamaze okuva mu nkambi z'abanoonyi b'obubudamu ku baana 100 abagenda mu masomero ga bonna basome, ku 100 abaana 39 be batuuka mu kibiina eky'omusanvu. Naye tewaliwo alipoota yafulumye erondoola abaana nti bano baabalaba basigadde bano 61 bo abatatuuse balazeewa era kyekizizeeko bulamu bwa. Naye ne baana 39 bakoze batya ekibiina eky'omusanvu era bagenzeewa. Eripooti ezisinga eziva mu waggulu eyo ezisinga ziraga nti ebintu si birungi, naye nga ezo si ze eza gavumenti wabula ze ez'abannaffe. Tukimanyi bulungi nti agamu mu bitundu ebisinga okubeeramu abaana bafuna embuto nga tebannaba kwetuuka. Tuba tukimanyi bulungi nti ebitundu ebisinga okuba eby'amaanyi ennyo wano mu Buganda nga tulina wano Sembabule ate nga tulina ne saidi eri mu bitundu bya Mwankole waliwo ebitundu eri mu bannaffe abatoolo. Naye ate kati mu mambuka g'eggwanga Uganda mwakyoli kigenze wala nnyo nti abaana mu Laŋŋo abafuna embuto nga tebannaba kwetuuka bebafumbiza olw'obwavu kubanga lutakyasobola kuliisa mwana namugamba ni katono akyakola kiwano kamuwe mwami gundi ne mwami gundi babatwale ate nga babatwalira na bwereere nga tebalina kintu kyonna kye basobola kuyamba mu mbeera eyo. Wabula abazadde okweggyako abaana embeera eyo etiisa nnyo n'abaana abava mu masomero nga bandibadde bakyasobola okusoma obulungi nakyo kyeraliikiriza. Atugambye nti omwavu kimanyi bulungi ntasobola kukuuma ttaka. Akali mu kana akaseera bafunye okutya kw'amaanyi nnyo tebakyasobola kuvuganya mu byabufuzi bulungi olw'okuba nti buli kaseera babategeeza nti mugenda kuddayo masomero gaabwe, mugenda kuddayo mu nkambi z'abanoonyi b'obubudamu oba si ekyo mukole bwe muti. N'olw'ensonga eyo tekyaliyo opposition waggulu eyo, tekyaliyo kwetaasa mu ngeri y'enjawulo ekiyinza okubeera bwe kityo. Olw'ebiseera ndowooza saagala nnyo kugenda mu mbeera efaanako bw'etyo wabula ku nsonga y'ebyettaka bannaffe bano ettaka lyabwe teriringa lyaffe wano. Bwe twali tukola ssemateeka w'eggwanga amawanga gano 18 nga gamaze okukuŋŋaana okukola Uganda, buli gamu gaalina enteekateeka n'omuzungu yali amaze okukireka mu nteekateeka n'ensengeka y'ebyettaka. Bannaffe ettaka lyabwe bano lyo si lya byapa nti wali wamulangira Nakibinge nannyini ettaka eryo alina square mile kuliko abasenze. Eryabwe ly'abantu abalina endowooza emu, enzikiriza emu, olulimi olumu, gamba ebikanga bonna bali wamu nga bonoogamba nti kati ono ettaka lya bampindi bali wali. N'olwensonga eyo bannaffe bano beesanze nga gavumenti etaddeyo enkola eri e Buganda wano ey'ebyapa etandika okukola mu ttaka ekitali kyangu, kyokka nga babategeeza nti balina okwekuŋŋaanya mu community ne bafunayo omuntu omu gwe baba bawandiisaamu ekyapa. Kitegeeza nti omuntu oyo yalina okubeera nannyini ttaka eryo mu mbeera omubeera. Kitegeeza nti akadde konna basobola okuyita mu ye, gavumenti neebeera ng'esobola okubatwalako ettaka. Kati ogwo mukeseso gwa maanyi nnyo gavumenti gwereese kulabika nti abantu bano ebajjako ettaka. Naye bo bagamba nti balina ebika byabwe ebisoba mu 155 bye babadde bakkiririzaamu, era balowooza nti mwe bandibadde bayisiza eddoboozi lyabwe mu ngeri omu oba endala nga basobola okwerwanako okubajjako Dokita kyagambye kye bayita nostalgia. Ekyo ekiyinza okuba nga nkanga baana Mwami Museveni gy'ateekawo Botemma bwe yafa n'aga nti kati bano bagenda bakola ntya, gyayiyawo ebintu ebyaki ebyenjawulo mu ngeri omu oba endala. N'olwensonga eyo twagala okubebaza mu mbeera efaanako bwetyo, era nga Mwami Kasule Mark Jackson abuuzizza nti mwagala ki? Ekimu ku nsonga esinga okuba enkulu ennyo kwe okutuusa obubaka eri bannayuganda n'eri sitting government. Tutera kugiyita sitting regime. Oluusi gavumenti batukiwebuddeko sitting regime, okugituusaako obubaka nga tetuyita mu bakulembeze be balonze, kubanga abakulembeze abalonde bonna bali compromised, okubategeeza nti bannayuganda abali mu bitundu bya Lango bali mu kunyigirizibwa okw'amaanyi era beetaaga okuyambibwa mu ngeri y'enjawulo. Newankubadde nga amawulire nago gali mu kutiisibwa bannamawulire mu ggwanga. Tubalabyeko nga mukubwa kibooko mpitirivu nnyo, tubalabyeko nga mutulugunyizibwa, babasiba, gadgets zaabwe bazitwala ne bazoonoona. Naye era tusazeewo tuleete eddoboozi lyaffe kye musobola okuyisawo kibe nga kisobola okuyitawo mu ngeri y'okuyamba bannayuganda mu kano akaseera, newankubadde nga tukulembera is an antagonist at the same time a pro-antagonist. Neyanza nnyo neyanzeege.
Sewo neyanzeege. Omukulu yadde ayogera, nyina ebimu bye nafunyemu byensaba bannayuganda ndoza tusobyewola ntukozesa. Koni ng'alemeddewo ne Balakwena emyaka 20 amagye ga UPDF nkyogera nga sikirumamu nga galemereddwa okugyayo Koni mu kitundu ekyo n'obuyeekero obulala obwaliwo. Abakulembeze b'ekitundu ekyo beekolamu omulimo ne bakolawo ebibinja mu lunabu ne beekolamu ebibinja zitutabisha groups omuli ba Arrow Boys nga bwe twalaba etteso, omuli be bayita ba Amuka, basobola okumalawo obuyeekero obwo obwaliwo nga gavumenti eremereddwa n'amagye ga UPDF galemereddwa. Abantu beekolamu omulimo ne basobola okumalawo obuyeekero obwo mu kitundu ekyo. Wano kiki empisaawo mu mbeera y'okusoberwa eka ne mu kibira, kubanga tulabye nti mu nkambi z'ababundabunda gye baasinga okufiira mu muwendo omungi omulundi ogumu, kyokka ng'ate ne mu maka gaabwe gye baabeeranga nga nayo bafiirayo. Mu Luganda tuyita okusoberwa eka ne mu kibira. Kitegeeza ki? Ekiseera kituuse ffe bannayuganda okwekolamu omulimu nga bano bwe baakikola, kubanga kigezeseddwa, tulabe nti bano abatusiba mu mbeera y'obuyinike tubakyusa ne tuteekawo obaolyawo abasobola okukola bye twagala. Mukulu Ssettumba ndowooza njagala osamulayizingi bwabaawo message otuwa oba ssekyo tufune ebibuuzo ebiri eno tulabe bwe tuggalawo olukiiko lwaffe.
Neyanziza ssebo. Twebaza bannamawulire okuba nti buli lwa Mande mujja ne muba nga mukola omulimu ogw'okuyitibwa kwammwe. Tukimanyi munyigirizibwa, tukimanyi mukolera mu mbeera enzibu, naye nsaba bakakasa nti epipa y'amata yeetaaga empeke y'omunnyomu okufa. Ekyo ekitono kye muyisaawo Mukama kyabasobozesezza era kiyina kye kikola ku ggwanga lino. Brother from Lango, you're most welcome in Need. I want to let you know that all the suffering you're going through is just like any other area across the country. The Kalamojongs that you people are blaming for rustling, for stealing your cows, were here on the same platform complaining for their cows being stolen by another group, which we don't yet know. So, waliwo ebibuuzo ebitandise okujja. Abakyoli bajja ne batuga Abakalamojja bababbako ente. Abalango batugambe Abakalamojja bababbako ente. Abateeso baali wano ne batuga Abakalamojja bababbako ente. N'Abakalamojja bwe bajja ne batugamba nti bababbako ente. Abanga ani abba ente? It's a big question. Because gwe tunenya abba ente naye bwe yajja yatugamba bamubbako ente. Ate ffenna tuli wano. Bwe kibanga Omukalamojja abbye ente z'Abakyoli, abbye z'Abalanga, abbye z'Abateeso, ng'akyali mwavu bw'atyo. Ente azifuula pawuda ne zibula. Bino ebibuuzo tutandika obyebuuza because gavumenti eno etufugidde mu deception, mu bulimba. Ate naffe tuleme kuba bawumba tuutu kukkiriza bulimba bugenda mu maaso bwe butyo. Gwe bavunaana okubba naye agamba bamubba, kati ani abba? Who is fooling who? Kitegeeza Omukalamojja tumwekweseemu, waliwo abamwekweseemu nga batulimba nti Mukalamojja yabba. Abakalamojja mwenna mubalaba mu Kampala banaku. N'ewaabwe baddukayo lwa nnaku. Nabo bwe bajja wano batugenda nti bazibabbako ettaka bali babbako. Therefore, waliwo ekitali kituufu kye tulina okumanya kubanga kitegeeza eggwanga lino mu kusooka twakyogeranga nti the country went to the dogs. I think we are moving from the dogs to wolves to foxes and hyenas. Simanyi kisinga kulya, kusinga mpisi, kusinga musege, kusinga bibe. Lino eggwanga lisaanawo. Kino kyaffe ffenna Bannayuganda tetukyalina gwe tukitikka. Tekikyaliko kyagundi atuyambe, tekikyaliko gundi twamulonda atukolere ki? Nedda. Kwa buli omu w'oli. Our brother from Lang has told us these people only have one choice: to remain alive. That is the determination of a vote in Lang. The same case in Uganda, the same case in Acholi, the same case in Busoga. Kitegeeza bwe tuba nga tusigadde kulonda lwakuba balamu. Nakyo bwe tunaatuuka okubanga nakyo kati kigenda kisebengerera kwa bwe toyina ddagala, toyina ssente zisobola kwegulira mmere, kitegeeza n'obulamu nabwo kumpi tobuyina. Mukkiriza mufe nga mulaba? Mukkiriza ekisolo kibamire? Bannayuganda, bino ebibuuzo bigenda eri mmwe. Tutambulidde mu bulimba, tutambulidde mu kwawulwa yawulwa, tutambulidde mu kutiisibwa trauma. Ndabye nammwe nga misajjala gy'abannyonnyola nga nammwe muli traumatized, story ebayiseemu mwenna ne munnyogoga. Kitegeeza ebintu bino nammwe bibakwatako. Bwe biba nga bibakwatako nga n'ababiraba kati bibakutteko ng'ate wonna bwe tuli, kitegeeza tulina kye tulina okukola. Massacres are everywhere. Tukyayogera ku y'ebbalonyo 2003, but there is a recent one eyakabeera e Kasese. No audit report. You people, you need to know nti Balonyo massacre yagenda okubeerawo nga Salimu Sale yakulira Operation Iron Fist eyali mu North. Is it the case? At least akyaliwo tumubuuze. Because abantu tebasobola kufa bwe batyo nga tusirika. Wano mu Buganda, over 500,000 people died during the 1986 war. But whoever kills most wins the war. Then ani yatta abantu? It's a big question. Bwabanga konye yatta ab'ebbalonyo natta these other camps. ADF nejja netteeka Kasese. Naye nga gavumenti yekyalina obuyinza. Bibuuzo ebyo bikulu. Bannayuganda, omulimu gwaffe kujja wano kubalaga bintu bino. Mwami Kasula obuuziza ekibuuzo kibadde kikulu. Abuuza musajja Lamogi, why are you here? Tukuyambe ki? Wano mu NEED tetukyalina gavumenti tuyambe. Because we even doubt if we really have a government. Bwe kibanga people can even cry for small things like social services malwaliro tuno nayo panado naye naye takyaliyo. If the government cannot help its people to give security, to give education, quality education, is that still really a government? Because we only want basics from government. Every complicated buli muntu babimulekera akole ki abyekolereko. These people, out of the taxes they are paying, they don't have a tarmac road. This is a country and they have a city. Bumpy and dusty. Kibuga kya nfuufu, bakyala bayo tebeekuba make-up abamala. No, bino ebintu bitegeere mu mbeera mwe tuyinza obbirabira. Mwenna abali wano mwasomanga there were two leading cash crops in the country. That was cotton and coffee. Coffee was being grown this side of the country and the Bugisu. Cotton was that side and Kasese and Bushe in that area. So what is cotton? Recently there is a certain person who was trying to bring back cotton, and the government undermined that project. I think you are aware. In Mbali. So there is a deliberate move to keep people poor, in abject poverty. We had the Rent Marketing Board. We don't know how it went. So, if this is what we are going through, you people, are you still ready to sit back and fold your hands? Trauma. Wano mu Buganda batugamba dduka buli tugenda okulonda dduka twatandikira ku obote. Bwe mulenda Semwogerere obote ajja kudda. You people, muli b'amawulire mudde mu mawulire agaaliwo ngabo munno mujja kufuna ne bukatuuni nga balaga Semwogerere aweesa obote. That was the yali propaganda gye baakozesa wano okulonda. You vote Semwogerere, he's going to return obote. You know, that was 96. But on this platform, we should credit and thank Dr. Kawanga Semwogerere, because that was a first step of uniting Uganda alongside Museveni, who had divided it. Because it is Semwogerere who reminded us that people in the north are our brothers. Yes, I credit him for that. Bw'ogenda e Kasese, bo kati okulonda kwabwe babajjukiza biri ebyatuuka ku Musinga. Wano bamanyi tukubira ebifaananyi by'obuwangwa obuli mu ki? Obuli mu massive graves. Eggwanga tugenda ditambuza tutyo. Kale, bwe babanga nze ne Misajjala Moji n'ono n'abalala nga ffe bino twabirabako. This is your generation, you people. Kati ffe tunyumya history. Are you ready to bury your future in the history? Can't you shape this country? Nga mmaliriza. Saba okubategeeza. Last time twali wano ne tubagamba nti government ekwa projects ezitayamba ggwanga kulaakulana. We talked about NUSAF. If the Acholis were here and they were crying that NUSAF has not helped them, it's the same case the Rangis are crying. Project ene yagenda mu trillioni ya sente zaalagawa. Sente zino zaamuwa ggwanga, zaamuwa musolo. Sente zino tuzeewola. Buli muntu ali mu Uganda kati omutwe gwe gubanjibwako miliyoni 2.8. Miliyoni 2.8. Naye gwe bazibanja bakusasula emitwalo 15 ku mulimu. Kongo nayo yatutaddeko ekiyinja. Buli mwaka tuyina ogisasula. Project za government zino obudde butuuse zikolebweko clear audit. Kubanga bateekawo ekintu n'olowooza mu kiina kye kiyamba naye ne bakuumira abantu mu bwavu. Banne bannayuganda, obudde butuuse tubeeko kye tulowooza okukola, otherwise omuntu omu yatujjukiza nga bwe tujja okuddayo mu dduka, yatujjukiza bwe tujja okudda mu kaapu, yajjukiza ab'e Kasese nga bwe bajja okuddamu okufa. Naye lwaki temwebuuza? Yatujjukiza. Loolo ye eri ki mu kutuzza mu ebyo? Kwa bw'oba tugenda kudda mu dduka entalo zijja kudda, tubuulire n'ani agenda ozizza. Bw'oba tugamba nti mujja kufa bwe munaalonda obubi, tubuulire n'ani agenda otutta. Bw'oba tugamba nti abalango n'abacyoli banaalonda obubi bajja kudda mu camps, tubuulire ani agenda obbazzaamu. Bw'oba tugamba nti abakonzo bwe banaalonda obubi bajja kuddamu bafune ebizibu ng'omusinga bye yafuna ne batta abantu be, tubuulire ani agenda obbatta. Because these are salient questions we need to ask. Tulekeraawo okuleka obulesa ebintu awo. Omusajja eggwanga aliyuzaayuzizza kamba buli Uganda yazimbibwa ku misingi ebiri nga mmaliriza. Uganda yazimbibwa ku buntu bulamu. Nezimbibwa ku bulungi bwansi. Ebyo byonna abisi. Bulungi bwansi bwe bwasobozesanga abantu bano n'obuntu bulamu okukuuma ettaka nga lya kika. Kati atwawudde yawudde bano agenze mu ttaka lyabwe abagambye ngenda bbawa ebyapa. Bwazze Buganda atugamba ate Mayiroland agijjawo. Katembo oyo enajjawo Mayiroland ate mu North agitwala. Mr. Jaramogi, what I'm trying to put across, Museveni is telling us he's going to scrap Mayiroland in Uganda and is just restating it in what? In the northern Uganda. You people, what kind of confusion? Therefore, we can't live in this kind of deception. We can't live in this kind of trauma. Neither can we live in this kind of divisionism that this government has caused. Thank you.
You said the country has went to the dogs, but to me I think the dogs went to the country. And this is just to remind you that I've already stated that the consolidation and sustainability of this government is through blood. They came by blood, they're living by blood, and they are ready to be there by blood. Remember the killings in Ruwelo, the Lango killings, the Acholi killings were still dying. Even the recent one, you remember the September 18th. So all that is that kind of killings is to keep this government in power. Thank you. Katufune ebibuuzo eby'omuluganda bwabaawo nga waliwo ebibuuzo abaagala obibuuza. N'ebyolulango bwaba nga waliwo alina ekyolulanga asobola okukibuuza. Dr. Alvin Mutebi. Nsaba tufune ku bibuuzo bibanga webiri. Okay. So tuwebaza bannamawulire omulimu gwe mutukolera, amawulire gatambula mu mbeera yonna, tusaba omulimu tugwongere mu maaso. Naffe tujja kukoowa kubaleetera abo abalayi batya okwogera kasita mubanga nammwe musobola okubigumiikiriza. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala.